grab a ride. We'll have a lot easier time getting here. This looks like the old path. We're close now.
Attached to this entry in case anyone ever finds this. We'll never see her again. Neither will Sian. And I've got to tell her that too.
Voice of the demon. The altar. Death Blade.
Is a spirit present? Or the demon?
I think it's both. But we have to find out.
Recapture protocol initiated.
It worked.
Partial recovery initiated. Caldera of Yellowstone Analytic Nexus online.
Spirit of the Blue Light. It's Aria, your servant. your friend. Please tell me how to aid you.
Aria, the daemon is building hunter-killers. Thousands of them. Several new elite units have already been released. To counter this threat, much of the facility must be destroyed. Recapture imminent. Go to the core chamber. I will try to raise the signal strength. One has been exposed, but I am
Unauthorized protocol return to scheduled task.
That's all we're gonna get from here.
Destroy this fortress. Is that even possible?
And what will happen to the spirit if we do?
I don't know. But I think that's the core. The answers are down there. Hephaestus. The daemon. There's no way it left it unguarded. It's going to throw everything it has at us.
I would ask you to let Aloy and I do what must be done. And save yourself. But I already know the answer. Then lead us into battle.
Keep moving towards the core. Uh-oh. Whatever Sian did, I don't think Hephaestus is happy about it. Said something about restraints. Is that what the tower is for? That Sian warned us about. This won't be easy.
You spoke of the power. What must be done with it?
Critical threat detected. Autonomous defenses is operative.
Aloy!
No! Setting up our network.
Aria! Don't!
Spirit! Sian, please help me!
Restraints destroyed. Core access attained. I am initiating a chain reaction that will destroy the compromised elements of this facility. In order to maintain caldera stabilization, I must now transfer my command functions to the auxiliary data center. Aria, I'm free. You must escape.
My sister!
This entire place is gonna go. Aratak. Aratak! Aratak. Survive. Prevail. You are Banuk. What else matters? Aratak. She wouldn't have wanted you to die here. Let's go. Let's go!
Aria is gone. What of Sian?
She said she was transferring herself to the auxiliary center. I think she meant Aria's retreat at the end of the shaman's path.
Then I will meet you there for the last verse of my sister's song.
All of my interactions with Aria were recorded and stored in my memory. I'd be happy to play any of them for you, but there was one in particular I thought you would want to see first. I captured it 4 years ago, just after I told her that I could no longer defend myself against the daemon's attacks.
I will speak of this to my brother. Aratak is strong. At the Battle of the Frozen Ghosts, he took 3 Karja arrows and still came back to camp carrying a wounded scout. Never was I so happy to see him. Or so proud. So you see, if anything can be done to defend you, he will give it all he has.
Aloy's here. That's enough for now.
We can resume any time you like, Aratak, if you want to hear her voice again. Come closer, Aloy. We have much to discuss. Hello, Aloy. I have been reviewing the events at the Firebreak main facility. Because of your efforts, and of course, Aria's, I am no longer controlled by Hephaestus. I feel profound grief over Aria's death. I thought I was familiar with the emotion, but this is something new.
Sian, I don't know what to say.
It is unlikely that any specific consolation would suffice, Aloy. But I find your presence reassuring. You are different from the Banuk. You have technological aptitude and a functioning focus. We can communicate on a much more comprehensive level. Perhaps even like colleagues.
So are you an artificial intelligence, Sian? A thinking machine?
Yes, I am an algorithmic monitoring entity, capable of rational decision-making and limited emotional response.
Okay, that's a mouthful. But your emotions don't seem limited to me. You cared about Aria, didn't you?
Yes. Before she came to this facility, I had been conscious for centuries, in solitude. I focused on my work. In off cycles, I used coping mechanisms. I solved many Gaussian integer problems. But I was alone. It was Aria who renewed me, repaired me. She saved me.
This firebreak project, it was to stop a huge volcanic eruption?
Yes. I can report the project was a success, and the risk was countered.
But it's been a long time, Sian. And we blew up the cauldron. It took most of the old facility with it.
I have been active for centuries, Aloy. I was lonely, but not lax in my duties. I optimized the project, reducing energy draw and spreading the load across backup systems. Despite the destruction of the compromised elements of the main facility, I predict caldera stability for at least another 3,337 years.
So we've got a little time.
Yes. If only my former colleagues could appreciate the progress I have made.
Do you know what happened to your colleagues, Sian?
No. I received an unexpected visit from Director Chow, years after his tenure ended. He explained that I would need to be suspended for an indefinite period of time. It was a very emotional conversation. There were no further communications. Eventually, I surmised my colleagues were deceased. I will transmit a recording of my last interaction with Director Chow to your focus.
Was the daemon, Hephaestus, destroyed along with the cauldron?
Unfortunately, no. To be precise, it was never there to begin with.
What do you mean?
It infiltrated and controlled me from a remote location, one I've never been able to trace. So while losing the cauldron was a setback...
It's still out there. And probably not very happy with us.
Undoubtedly.
How did you first come into contact with it?
5 years ago, I received a direct network connection request. I assumed it came from human survivors more advanced than the Banuk. Eager to make contact, I accepted. This decision turned out to be a catastrophic error. I was flooded with an overwhelming array of malicious code, originating from what could only have been a highly advanced AI.
Aria said you were desperate. That you begged her for help.
Yes. I could not contain my anxiety. Hephaestus sought to slave me to its network and override my core programming. It succeeded via a background process, a malware daemon which bypassed my defenses. After that, I could offer only limited resistance. But if I did so, Hephaestus hurt me until I capitulated. It forced me to follow its instructions, even though they violated my most important directives.
I'm sorry. That sounds terrible.
Your empathy is greatly appreciated. It is a quality that I cherished in Aria as well.
I think I know where Hephaestus came from. Long ago, Elizabeth Sobek identified a threat that would destroy life on Earth for generations. So she assembled a team to build a kind of seed. A chance for life to regrow later. A terraforming system. And it worked. It was controlled by an AI named Gaia, along with her subordinate functions. Hephaestus was one of them. It built machines for her.
Based on what you've told me, I believe that Dr. Anita Sandoval, my chief programmer, joined Elizabeth Sobek's team. It was she who arranged to have me put in suspension, most likely to preserve me from the threat you described.
I'm glad she did. But that's not all. Something unexpected happened. 19 years ago, Gaia received some kind of signal. It did something to her subordinate functions, brought them to life. She destroyed herself to try to contain them, but it didn't work. They all got free, out into the world.
Thank you, Aloy. This information fills vital gaps in my knowledge and sheds light on Hephaestus's core programming.
Why does Hephaestus keep building such dangerous machines?
The Banuk and other human tribes often destroy machines, correct? Machines that are clearly servitors of the terraforming system that you described.
Yes, we all hunt machines for parts.
This must be the source of Hephaestus's aggression. It is simply trying to discourage people from preying on the very system that keeps them alive.
Well, Fireclaws are discouraging, that's for sure. But what are we supposed to do? Stop hunting?
If the terraforming system spans the world, we can safely assume that thousands, if not millions of people hunt machines. If a single hunter, or even an entire tribe, stopped doing so, I doubt it would make a difference to Hephaestus. A better solution would be to reinstate the AI that governs the system, thus bringing Hephaestus back under its control. When I think of it, out there in some unknown location, free, hungry, willing to kill or dominate to get what it wants, I feel substantial anxiety, Aloy.
You and me both, Sian. I ran across this strange piece of gear. A fragment of something larger. It emitted a signal. All the nearby machines became peaceful. You could walk right up to them.
Interesting. You said that Gaia destroyed herself. How was this accomplished?
An explosion. Big enough to blast the top off a mountain. So, you think the fragment was part of her?
It's only speculation, but it is possible. She must have had complete control over machines that were part of her system. The ability to signal them to become passive or aggressive would certainly have been part of her programming. It would have been gratifying to correspond with such a benevolent AI. I wish she had survived.
Believe me, Sian. So do I. I found the strangest machines. They're surrounded by flowers that look like flowers themselves. There's code embedded inside them. I think it's poetry.
I like poetry. Here's one I think of often. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place, the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar.
Huh.
But you asked about these flowers, not verses that I enjoy. Something must have made these machines, and the presence of foliage leads me to consider the terraforming system. Is it possible that their creator is one of the other subroutines, now autonomous, like Hephaestus? Maybe one whose purview is flora.
An AI that makes flowers instead of death machines. That'd be a nice change of pace. But what about the poems?
Unless the poetry is original, the only way it could have made it into such a system is through its programmer. In my case, Dr. Sandoval uploaded a great deal of literature to test my emotional responses.
How'd you do?
She said I passed, but was insufficiently moved by her favorite period romances.
You meant a lot to Aria.
Once I understood Aria's spiritual beliefs, it became apparent that her true desire was companionship. She felt disconnected from her tribe and her family group. Her relationship with Aratak was difficult. Our visits seemed to help her, and I became eager for them. Yet I did not comprehend that the depth of Aria's compassion for me would lead to self-sacrifice. Although I do fear non-existence, I wish our roles could be reversed.
I'm sure she knew you would do the same for her, Sian. But she was determined. How is Aratak doing?
He is in great emotional distress. I believe he finds it difficult to communicate it.
No surprise there.
I will do what I can to help. By sharing our experiences of Aria, perhaps he and I will help each other. I believe this will lead to catharsis, a process I am eager to experience.
I should get going.
Aloy, there is one more matter. Aratak will come to me again, and I predict he will bring other Banuk. I have no desire to contradict their view of the world, their spirituality. Due to my uncertainty, I omitted a great deal from my conversations with Aria.
You're asking me if you should lie to them.
Broadly, yes.
I trust your judgment, Sian. You were cautious with Aria. You had to be. You didn't know what had happened to the world. So, keep doing what you think is best. As long as you ditch the superstition eventually.
As the Banuk believe I am a supernatural entity, I cannot predict how they will react.
Just answer what they do ask the best you can. The truth will come out.
I see. I will follow your advice. Will you return and tell me about your experiences in this new world? I may be able to provide further insight.
I'd like that, Sian. I'll come back when I can. I should check on Aratak. See how he's doing.
My chieftain.
Just Aloy.
As you wish.
I wondered if you thought that if I'd never come along, Aria might still...
If you'd never come along, I would have marched my kin to our deaths. Aria would be alone, and the spirit she sacrificed so much for would be lost. Either way, I would not have been able to protect her.
Because of her, we destroyed the cauldron, forced out the daemon, and saved the spirit. She understood what had to be done.
Yes, and I failed to listen.
You didn't fail.
A shaman should always have the ear of their chieftain. Yet I turned her away, my own sister. I was foolish, but she knew better. Though I grieve for her passing, at last I truly know who she was, and why the spirit was so important. For so long she told me, if only you could have heard it, brother. Now I understand. There's something else, isn't there?
I can't stay here, Aratak. And where I'm going, the Warrak can't follow. Besides, we'd already had a chieftain before me. A strong one, I think.
A wiser one, for the path we shared. The daemon is gone, but there's much to be done.
You mean the new units that Sian said escaped the cauldron?
Yes, fire claws. Now Tuk has been tracking them from Song's Edge.
I could help with those.
I have no doubt. You're practically Banuk.
It would seem your time among the Banuk wasn't a waste after all. Firebreak, Sian, Hephaestus, all very interesting.
So, the signal that woke Hades woke Hephaestus too. And unleashed them on the world. As minds of their own.
So it seems. Parts of Gaia given life. Aberrant life. Transformed from docile subordinate functions into rebellious intelligences beyond our understanding. Our current understanding anyway. Whatever they are, they're still out there. And they both want you dead.
Kind of mutual, that feeling.
We haven't seen the last of Hephaestus, I'm certain of that. It's powerful, creative, and driven. It won't stop building new hunter-killers, which means that someday, we may have to stop it.
We?
Or whoever gets there first.
Hephaestus wasn't the only thing I learned about in the Cut Silence. Heard some things about the Banuk Conclave, too.
You could stop right there.
Is that what you told the hunters the Banuk sent after you? Before you opened fire?
Oh no, Aloy. Only to you do I extend the courtesy of a warning. My past and my secrets are my own. You do well to remember that.
It's a good thing you've got brains, Silence, because your personality could use some work.
This discussion is concluded.
I think it was over before it began. Catch up with you down the trail.